So the WNBA expansion draft is happening soon, and every team has already submitted the players that they have to.
Okay, this is wild, but the Indiana Fever just lost their social media accounts. Well, temporarily. A single, now deleted post basically spilled their entire draft strategy. And get this, it happened right after Caitlin Clark's draft, which pulled in 6.2 million viewers. This leak couldn't have come at a worse moment, especially with the Golden State Valkyries, the NBA's newest franchise, ready to steal top talent. They're valued at a whopping $122 million, and now Indiana's front office is in total lockdown after that post vanished. Anxiety is through the roof as November 25th, the protection deadline, looms. This leaked roster is a bombshell, but here's the kicker, they omitted a vital player. Seriously, is this the biggest front office blunder since the Elena Della Dunn trade in 2017? Total catastrophe.
So lads, the Indiana Fever might be making a huge mistake. Again, this is a might because you just never know. You never know when it comes to things like this because you don't know how players pan out. You don't know. Maybe you're overrating a player, maybe you're underrating a player, but it's always kind of hard to tell when it comes to young players.
So, before we dive even deeper into this massive story, let me break down what's actually happening. The WNBA expansion draft isn't your typical draft. It's a rare event that literally holds the future of the Golden State Valkyries franchise in its hands. The Valkyries are joining the league in 2026, and they want top-tier talent. WNBA rules state that teams can only protect 6 players, making everyone else vulnerable to being snatched up by this new team. And this is where it gets really intriguing. For just a few hours on November 12th, right before the protection deadline, the Indiana Fever's social media team shared what looked like an innocent photo. Coach Stephanie White was proudly standing alongside 6 players, a lineup that coincidentally featured exactly 6 players. The post disappeared in 45 minutes, but not before eagle-eyed fans grabbed screenshots and flooded the WNBA community in a panic. Let's talk numbers for a second. The Fever's market value surged 47% after drafting Caitlin Clark. Their merchandise sales hit record highs, with Clark's jersey as the WNBA's top-selling rookie jersey, and season ticket renewals are up 300% from last year. Now the compromised picture revealed Clark front and center, alongside Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hull, Aaliyah Boston, Temi Fagbenla, and Alyssa Smith. These 6 players combined for an $46,000 cap hit for the 2024 season. But here's the absolute worst part. The Fever still have Grace Berger, a promising guard on a team-friendly rookie contract, who was not on that list. Industry insiders are buzzing about an Alyssa Smith situation too, especially after the contentious eye poke incident during her popular TikTok video that led to practice drama and locker room tension. Defending Smith over younger, cheaper talent has raised some serious questions. One anonymous league executive told me this could be the type of choice that haunts a franchise for 4 years. And the timing? It couldn't be worse for Indiana. They just made their first playoff trip since 2016, and their attendance figures have soared by 67% since Clark arrived. The pressure on this team to keep the momentum going is immense, especially with the Valkyries lurking. Speaking of the Valkyries, they bring serious firepower to the table. Backed by Silicon Valley funds and building a cutting-edge arena in Oakland, they're not joining the league just to fill out ownership figures. The group has committed $50 million in initial investment, making them one of the best-funded expansion teams in women's sports history, and the expansion draft rules are brutal. Squads can only protect 6 people, and the Valkyries can pick 1 player from every current squad. The problem is, they can only take 1 unrestricted free agent total, meaning teams have to be super strategic about who they don't safeguard, all while juggling current talent and future potential. The stakes couldn't be higher for the Fever. After years of rebuilding, they finally struck gold with Boston and Clark, and now they're dealing with the risk of losing key supporting cast members. Essentially, that leak post gave the Valkyries a sneak peek into the Fever's plan, allowing them to perfectly organize their draft approach. Let's dissect every player from that leaked picture. Caitlin Clark is a no-brainer. She's averaging 21.4 points, leads the league in assists per game, and has already shattered 3 rookie records. Her impact extends beyond the court, with Fever game ratings up to 56% since her debut. Aaliyah Boston, another past Rookie of the Year, is an obvious choice with her dominant post-game, averaging 16.8 points, 8.2 rebounds, and 2.1 blocks. Her chemistry with Clark has been electrifying, turning their pick and roll into one of the league's most effective combo. Kelsey Mitchell provides seasoned leadership and reliable scoring. She's in the final year of her contract, but team sources indicate they plan to use their essential classification to keep her in Indiana. Her 18.2 points per game and 42% three-point shooting make her invaluable to the team's spacing. Now, the inclusion of Lexi Hull on the protected list might surprise casual fans, but her numbers tell a different story. She has the highest defensive rating of all WNBA guards at a remarkable 92.4, and she's boosted her three-point percentage from 32. When she's the primary defender, opponents shoot only 34% from the field. She's the kind of glue player championship teams desperately need. The actual dispute begins with Nalissa Smith. Her innate ability is clear. She's averaging 12.4 points and 7.3 rebounds per game with an 18.2 player efficiency score, but the off-court drama has been a continual distraction. The eye poke incident at practice resulted in a 3-game team suspension, costing them important playoff games, and her social media posts have reportedly created conflict in the changing area, with 3 seasoned athletes asking for private consultations with coaching personnel. Several sources attest that 3 clubs, including the Las Vegas Aces, have already inquired about possible trades. Temi Fagbenl's defense is possibly the most perplexing component of the puzzle. While she offers veteran presence, her numbers have decreased notably since mid-season. She's averaging just 5.2 points and 4.1 rebounds in her last 15 games, down from 8.7 points and 6.3 rebounds in the first half of the season. Her defensive impact has also decreased, with opponents shooting 47% in the paint against her, up from 38% in the first few months of the year. According to WNBA analysts, this might be a smokescreen for a more significant action.
If I was the Indiana Fever, I would genuinely want to protect Grace Berger, because I think Grace Berger I think in the modern WNBA, Grace Berger is going to be such a good.
But here's what's really keeping the Fever players and supporters up at night. Grace Berger. She showed flashes of brilliance as Clark's backup shooter, hitting a remarkable 44% from three-point range. In brief appearances of over 20 minutes, she averaged 9.2 points and 4.8 assists with a favorable plus 5.2. League scouts portray her as a potential starting guard, with one Eastern Conference executive comparing her abilities to Courtney Vandersloot. Leaving her unprotected could seriously backfire on Indiana for years to come.
A 95% chance the Golden State Valkyries select Grace Berger. She is young. She's like 24 maybe. She is a 6-foot tall point guard. She can shoot the ball. She led the W in 3-point percentage 2 seasons ago. And she's also can handle. She can pass. She can defend.
Alright, the Golden State Valkyries front office, their analytics department is practically salivating. Former NBA executives who ran the Golden State Warriors have been prepping for this draft for 4 months, building an exclusive scouting system that blends conventional stats with sophisticated metrics. They've got $5.7 million in capital to accommodate bigger contracts, plus the marketing machine to turn role players into stars. According to Valkyrie sources, they've already pinpointed 3 potential franchise pillars from the most likely pool of vulnerable players. And let's talk about money. The NBA's new TV deal is probably kicking off next season, which could double the salary cap from $1.4 million to $2.8 million. This means unprotected players could see their worth skyrocket under the new financial landscape. For youthful players on rookie contracts like Berger, these deals become even more valuable as teams try to manage their cap space. The Fever's social media mishap might end up costing them millions in future trade assets, essentially handing the newest powerhouse in the league a major advantage. In the response from fans, it's been fear. The team's Twitter mentions have been trending with over 50,000 tweets in the last 24 hours. Instagram engagement is up 12%, and season ticket holders are clogging the team's phone lines. One fan group even launched a chain.org petition to save Grace Berger, collecting 15,000 signatures in just 6 hours, and even Caitlin Clark's dad posted a cryptic tweet that simply read, "Moments of interest in Indy, trust the process." That tweet got 100,000 likes before it was deleted. Remember when the Detroit Shock lost their nucleus in the 2009 dispersal draft, going from champions to struggling to make the playoffs after moving to Tulsa? The Fever is treading a similarly tightrope. One mistake mistake could wipe out years of meticulous rebuild. The next 48 hours are absolutely critical for the franchise, but prominent sources close to the team suggest there might be more to this story than meets the eye. Whispers are circulating about potential 3-team transactions involving protected players and unsigned European draft choices who could be thrown into the equation. International players currently competing abroad could completely alter the entire landscape. That deleted post might just be the opening salvo in a much larger, broader plan for roster transformation. The WNBA community is on edge, waiting. Will Indiana stick to that leaked list, or was this a complex deception designed to set up shocking last-minute changes? What happens to all the unguarded players, and how will they react to being exposed? These responses will impact not only the Fever's future, but the league's competitive balance for years to come. One thing's for sure, the expansion draft just got a whole lot more interesting. Every team in the league is watching Indiana's next move, and the Valkyries front office is most likely putting in overtime to analyze every possible scenario. Agents are already working the phones, trying to get clarity on their client's situation. The ripple effects from this leak will be felt across the league, and examining the historical precedent for expansion drafts makes this situation even more explosive. During the 2008 Atlanta Dream expansion, teams that prematurely disclosed security data showed an average of 2.3 trade offers for their exposed players before the official list submission. Looking at today, the stakes are substantially larger. The market for Fever merch has risen 32% since Clark was drafted, making every roster choice a multi-million-dollar risk. Behind the scenes, sports betting markets are reacting to the disclosure. Vegas forecasts for the 2025 Fever's championship odds dropped from +800 to over +100 just hours after the post went viral. Betting analysts highlight the lack of clarity surrounding the team's roster stability as a key factor because the market hates uncertainty, and this leak created a ton of it. The psychological effects on players can't be ignored either. Sports psychologist Sarah Martinez, who works with multiple WNBA teams, describes public exposure as expendable, as something that can deeply impact player morale, team dynamics, and on-court performance. Training sessions following the disclosure have reportedly been tense. One observer noted significantly less player interaction than typical, with some players appearing preoccupied or reluctant to fully engage in coaching scrimmages. Employees have planned extra private consultations to address these issues and maintain focus. The global angle adds yet another layer of intricacy. 3 European teams have already contacted representatives of potentially unprotected Fever players looking to entice talent abroad. Fenerbahce, the Turkish powerhouse, has allegedly made significant offers for any exposed player. Media coverage of these international possibilities has exploded beyond sports channels, with mainstream media increasingly presenting the narrative as a cautionary tale about social media handling in professional sport. The incident has even sparked conversations about digital security measures across other corporate sponsors of professional leagues. Major jersey sponsor, a significant healthcare organization, has called an urgent meeting with Fever executives. Their multi-million-dollar yearly deal includes performance and stability provisions that could be impacted by major roster interruptions. Nearby businesses in the Gainbridge Fieldhouse area are also worried. Maria Rodriguez, a restaurant owner whose establishment sees a 40% revenue increase on game days, stated, "We built our business concept around Fever home games. Any threat to the team's success impacts us directly." For merchandise vendors, the timing couldn't be worse either. Holiday season sales forecasts were predicated on roster consistency, with Clark jerseys alone anticipated to bring in $3.2 million in sales in December. The uncertainty has already led some retailers to modify their inventory order. WNBA executive Jim Thompson offered, "The reason this leak's timing is so damaging is that teams typically have back-channel communications regarding protection tactics, which has now forced Indiana to stop negotiating leverage." Social media interaction has reached previously unheard-of heights on TikTok, with creators generating over 50 million views on Fever-related content in the last 24 hours. Fan theories range from believable to outrageous, with some even implying the leak was a deliberate deliberate marketing gimmick. The team's public relations department is working overtime, and focus groups with season ticket holders have been hurriedly set up to gauge fan sentiment. Nevertheless, preliminary feedback points to a 50-50 split between those favoring the apparent plan and those advocating for modification. Youth basketball initiatives connected to the fever are also feeling the effect. Local coaches report a surge in young players asking about career stability and team loyalty. Young kids idolize these players, says AA coach Marcus Williams. They're gaining tough knowledge about the commercial side of basketball. Other WNBA markets are keeping a careful eye on the situation. Team assessments throughout the league may be impacted by how this plays out. Sports business analysts estimate that a successful expansion draft strategy could set a new benchmark for franchise development. The players' union has also taken notice. While they haven't released a formal statement, sources claim they are closely monitoring the circumstances surrounding potential contract consequences for upcoming collective bargaining negotiations, which could add new provisions regarding roster protection announcement technology. Digital security specialists are offering their opinions on the social media aspect of this incident. The requirement for multiple levels of approval mechanisms for posting on team social media is paramount, states Rachel Chen, a digital security consultant. A single individual should not have unilateral posting power. The upcoming protection deadline has created a pressure cooker within the company. Employees report increased security measures such as team phone checks and a phone-free policy instituted in facilities including the practice facility and cafeteria to prevent additional leaks. As this tale progresses, one thing becomes more obvious. The contemporary WNBA is a multifaceted environment where social media, player welfare, fan interaction, and commercial interests intersect, making the fever situation a case study in professional crisis management.